So yes, I'm running as a Democrat, but I'm not one of their people. Let me just say that they're not going to be happy about me. That they're not. Yeah. So yes, I know people are not psyched on them right now. That's all.
I mean, the goal is to defeat Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and the way you do that is running in a Democratic Party primary. So that's what you want to do.
Also, it's realistic, right? Like you have a way better chance of getting elected if you actually become the Democratic candidate. So
you have to here. There's no. Right. I mean, we're like a plus. I don't like plus 12 at least, and it's I mean, it's just not going to happen. Like it. This is the only way to. I've been crunching these numbers for the better part of 15 years. People need to understand that. So it's not like I'm just, oh, let's just try this. It's no, this is the way it has to be done. And we've been strategizing on this for a few years. And there's a lot of things in play that are different than last time. I think that Debbie is going to be in for a very big surprise this time around. And I think you'll all be very entertained as to what is coming. So I feel very encouraged.
Yeah, I am too. The last time that you ran in 2020, you were campaigning and I felt like you were crushing it. And then COVID hit. And then you had to adapt your strategy because for those who don't know, Jen, she doesn't take corporate PAC money and stuff like that. So she has to raise money through grassroots fundraising. It's like a door knocking campaign. It's very grassroots. And so once the pandemic hit, they had to adjust and that set them back. And so now where you kind of have like this normal campaign again. Yeah, I mean, COVID's still here, obviously, but like you can do what you are good at. And I think that having an actual like real race against Debbie, where you're not kind of kneecapped, I'm excited about it. Like I'm going to be cautiously optimistic, but I'm optimistic. And even if like this is going to be an uphill battle, just like it makes me smile thinking that Debbie Wasserman Schultz right now is like coping and seething. She's really mad that she has a primary challenger.
Yeah, I actually know for a fact that she is freaking out. She was freaking out like the day before we officially announced, because I guess once it's on the FBC, like it's public. So she probably has somebody regularly check. I don't know. But I know she's freaking out. And the best part about it is like, seriously, like I have nothing to lose. Nothing. I have nothing to lose. I can just go like balls to the wall. I am just so enraged right now and I am just going for it. And the thing is, I will be living rent-free in her head for the next 5 months, whether I win or lose. And that just pleases me to no end. And after this, something's going to happen. I'll end up getting demonetized because she'll have one of her Marsha moments. And, that'll be that. But no, I mean, it's about the message. It's about the service. It's about being out and spending 5 months spreading the message, being on national platforms, talking with you guys, like putting out what I'm about and what I'm fighting for, because at the end of the day, that can keep going. Like we kept our whole platform going after the first campaign, turned it into our podcast, still did service. And, that's what's building momentum. So, that's one of the biggest problems, I think, is the campaign paradigm is so candidate focused that it doesn't ever encompass any other part of our mission, right? Like you're not really moving anything forward. And so then if you lose, then that's it, you go away and no one ever hears from you again. And the whole momentum is just gone. And I just think that we can't get out of our own way enough. So we do service-based campaigns, we build coalition, and we just keep it going. And I just think that's the most organic way to do this.
Yeah, I agree. One thing that I'm concerned about is how are you going to address the funding against you? Because that if internal polling starts to show that you are a danger to Debbie Wasserman Schultz, we all know it's going to happen. There's going to be
it's going to happen anyway.
AIPAC money. So
it's going to happen anyway.
How do you address that?
Oh, I've been waiting for it. I've been waiting for it. I started thinking about this a couple of years ago. We have some things in play. We have some things up our own sleeves. Let's just say that we're not going to be playing 2-1 like we always are. It's going to be more like 2-2. And that some of the recent incidents in the world have angered some very wealthy people that wouldn't normally be supportive. And I decided a couple of years ago that if we're going to ever really be able to compete, it can't be 2-1 anymore. We need backup. There need to be progressive PACs. There need to be people that are running parallel type campaigns and doing that so that we are fighting fair and we're fighting according to their rules and legally, but we're meeting them where they are. And so there are a lot of things that are going to be in play that I don't think are used to being in play. And I think it's going to be very interesting. And I would also suggest that it's a numbers game. I need 50,000 votes, give or take. and how much money she gets and how nasty they say things about me and call me a self-loathing Jew and whatever they're going to say, that's not going to change the fact that I still only need 50,000 votes. And I know who my people are locally. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had over 20,000 last time in a pandemic. So I don't know. I feel inspired, and the outreach I've been getting, and very specifically from the Muslim community, has been like amazing. Like, honestly, I mean, I was joking that I'll end up like wearing a hijab by the end of the month, just because I've been going to so many dinners, and I was like, it's so warm and inviting, and they're just being so kind and gracious, and it's very touching. Like, it really is. So I feel there's this huge momentum based on people that are outraged and feel silenced here. And I think that it's very formidable, and they are really propping me up and promoting me amongst themselves. And so I don't know, this is very interesting times here.
Yeah, you've gone viral on Twitter as well for some of like the things that you said, because you've had some really powerful speeches about how like you were raised as a Zionist.
Yes.
And you've since changed your opinion on that, and you've speaked out really, really vociferously against the genocide right now. So contrast you with Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I mean, you don't really have to do that because the audience knows she's full-throatedly supporting genocide, but like, just speak about why this is so important to you.
Yeah.
And then also make fun of John Fetterman, just because.
Oh yes, please. If anytime you can take a shit on John Fetterman and just throw in a jab in there.
Specifically with John, like, honestly, I decided a long time ago, like I even said it on my show, he's dead to me. Like I'm not wasting my time dealing with him. Like he's a buffoon. So for me, I started deprogramming my Zionist self maybe about 15 years ago or so. I keep thinking 10, but then I've been saying 10 for so long, and I'm getting older. So it's like I'm pushing 53. So but maybe 15 years ago. And it just started unraveling bit by bit by bit. And then right around the last time when I was running in 19, I still had this like idealistic view of the possibility of a two-state solution. But by that point, I totally knew that what was happening was so wrong. And I didn't it was like a transition from start to finish. And a lot of it for me here had to do with all the anti-BDS legislation. And around that time, it was just, as somebody who takes the Constitution very seriously, that was pissing me off. That was pissing me off to no end. And then I started digging, and it unraveled like a friggin' house of cards. And now you can't unsee it. But, you know, Debbie is an AIPAC darling. And she very well might also ideologically be a Zionist. The truth is, I don't know. It could be both. Whatever. But I know that I was used as a tool in ethnic cleansing. I know that I was put in what most people, if you were to use common sense, would realize is a human shield position. I can say everything that comes out of Israel's mouth is a lie, and that everything that they say is stuff that they're projecting that they do. And when I think back on when I was there and what that was, we were totally in places that we're not supposed to be. And we thought it was so cool. You know, we had this armed guard, and he had a machine gun and all this stuff. And we're in high school in this group, and we're like, oh my God, how cool is that? Like, we have this armed guard. Yeah. If you're taking teenagers somewhere where you believe that it might be necessary to have an assault rifle to protect them, you're using them as human shields. If you're building things in places where you know that it's not safe, those are human shields. You know what? The whole thing is just so aggravating to me. I'm just like, I'm in a rage lately. But so October 22, we started a series on my show called Deconstructing Zionism. And it was really just because I just started putting a lot of nice books together that I was compiling like a little library and inviting people on to talk. But so I've been down this rabbit hole for a while. This is not new. This is not since October 7th for me. Now I'm just at a whole new level of rage. That's all. Like, I honestly didn't think I could be more angry.
The way that you speak about like deconstructing your Zionism resonates with me, because I often talked about how like I was raised evangelical Christian, and they also raise you to be Zionist, but you don't really get, into the weeds as deeply as you did, for example. Like, they just taught us in the church, like, you have to be out for Israel. It's God's people. And I actually didn't know that, being raised as like a Christian evangelical, I didn't know about all the apocalyptic stuff and how like the reason why you're supposed to support Israel is because they're supposed to facilitate the end times. and they're all either going to be converted or killed. I had no idea, but as I got older and learned about this, I thought this is extremely fucked up and dehumanizing. Like, even
it's so anti-Semitic. It's so incredibly anti-Semitic.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, I had no idea that that's what it was. And even as I was still a Christian, but deconstructing and learning about that, I was like, does that not seem like, wait, that was kind of like not the start, but like part of the unraveling of like myself deprogramming from that Zionism, because it's like, wait, it seems like weird that they would all be killed. Like, isn't God about forgiveness and stuff like that? So I didn't know that it was so anti-Semitic, even though they were saying we support Israel. And that is the ethos of people like John Hagee, which is embraced by this movement, you know? So it's really nice to hear you talk about that, because we all get like these kinds of ideas embedded in us that we just kind of accept by default, because that's our default. That's how we were raised, right?
Yeah.
That's how we were programmed. But when you really start to pick it apart and scrutinize it, you realize it is so fucked up. Really,
I don't
really
think people realize, unless, I mean, for people, if you've read Elon Pappy's book, if you've read, you know, some like Rashid Khalidi, like some of these books, then you probably know too. Then I'm not like overly, like, it's not like I wrote a dissertation on this, but like there was a renaming committee back, right, I think like probably 1947, like right before official, and when they were resurrecting a dead language, which Hebrew was not spoken anywhere there. They had to resurrect a dead language to create a language and make up a nationality. And there was a renaming committee that went through all of the ancient things in Palestine and gave them new names and backstories. And not only were we taught that here, but children born in Israel, because we had Miko Peled on, and he was talking about, he was taught the same nonsense with the made up stuff too. And he lived right next door to the real things. Like they would go look at what was, you know, they would be told was some ancient Hebrew ruins. And it was some guy's house from like 30 years before. Wow. You know, like that kind of stuff. I mean, just so ridiculous. And, you know, it's amazing that they're still trying to gaslight us when we're watching it in live time. Like, I don't understand how they think that they can get away with gaslighting us anymore.
Oh, by getting rid of TikTok. You get rid of TikTok, no one will see anything anymore.
We'll know nothing.
Strategy.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.